This is a little thing I like to call MLB Rants. Before I get into anything else, I would just like to point out that these are only my opinions. They are not universally correct. If you form your own opinions about the things I have to say, put them down in the comments below, whether you disagree, whether you agree with me. Put it down in the comments section. And if there is something that happens next week that you want me to go over, go ahead, put that in the comments as well, and it might even make an appearance in next week's video. And I have nothing new today, just swivel chair from last week, got my Chromebook from 2 weeks ago. So yeah, nothing new. So yeah, nothing new. Yeah, episode 5, 2021 season. I do have to point out before we get things rolling in this episode that it was so hard to actually find things to rant about or to talk about even, because this week was a really dry week. There are a few things that you obviously know of if you're an MLB fan, but other than that, it's just kind of like things I saw around the MLB and I was like, yeah, that's going in, that's going in. There wasn't really anything that I saw and I was like, no, that's not really big enough to go. I just put everything that I saw in because there was nothing going on this week. Nothing, just games being played, honestly. MLB 2021 season, episode 5. Let's go. I mean, come on. Okay, fall again. Cool. So a few weeks ago, I was talking about how the MLB was thinking about expanding, and I explained all about what the expansion is, the amount of money that a team needs to make in order to not get moved or anything like that. The Oakland Athletics, which is one of the teams that I said, them and the Rays were the two teams that were planning on expanding. Now the Oakland Athletics are actually thinking of moving. Place that's really been floating through the air for the past week is Vegas. It's kind of weird that both Oakland team, or 2 of the 3 Oakland teams could be in Vegas next year, but it's not 100% set on Vegas. They're still talking about Portland and Charlotte, so we honestly just have to see, where that kind of goes. But yeah, ultimately, that's the main thing, is that the A's are most likely going to be moving out of Oakland to a different city, like I said 2 weeks ago. So everyone loves a good change. I mean, who doesn't, right? Good change in the MLB, good city relocation. It might even be a place closer to you. You might want to represent the Athletics from now on if, they're in your hometown or if they're the nearest team to your hometown. Throughout the course of April, COVID really didn't take a toll on any teams. I don't recall that many players getting put on IL because they had COVID or because they were at risk of COVID. But this week alone, we've had at least a dozen COVID cases, and that's only between 2 separate teams. The team that just affected players were the San Diego Padres. Sadly, on Tuesday, Fernando Tatis Jr. tested positive, and then it wasn't only him, but it was also Eric Hosmer, Will Myers, Jurickson Profar, and George Mateo, which are all starting players. And starting players who have really made an impact on the Padres. They need to get Tatis, Hosmer, Myers, Mateo, and Profar. They need to get them all back playing onto the field, and, just so that the Padres can do well. Because after their series against the Rockies, they came back, tested positive. Yeah, so it kind of feels like the Rockies kind of gave it to them. Maybe something going on at Coors Field. The other team that's had significantly more COVID cases are the New York Yankees, and that's including staff and players. The player most recently was Gleyber Torres. He was tested positive for COVID, and now he's out on the IL. And then 8 of the Yankee staff members also tested positive for COVID. And the weird thing about all of it is that they were all vaccinated. Not out of the woods yet necessarily, but part of that reason could be because you see the Yankees practice and play and none of them wear masks whatsoever. So maybe it's just a good idea to just, keep the mask on throughout the game, or not, if you're not near anyone, then I understand, just breathe. But if you're in the dugout, keep your masks on. Yankees, seem like they don't care when clearly they should, because their players and staff are getting COVID. So yeah, the Yankees and the Padres are getting COVID after a month of, somewhat silence about COVID. So yeah, we could see more of that. We could see less of that. Who knows? So let's hope that it's less of that, because, the less COVID, the better. We can all go out again. That'd be great. Noah Syndergaard is a starting pitcher for the New York Mets. And earlier this week, he made a statement about how he feels like baseball has gone soft because of how respected these unwritten rules are. And this is primarily based off of the Tatis Bauer jabs that were taken at each other. First started in spring training, where Trevor Bauer said in a press conference that, I kept my eye closed during the game so that I could give the hitters a better chance to hit the ball. So yeah, it started with that. They played the Padres at Dodger Stadium. Fernando Tatis Jr. hits a home run, and he covers one of his eyes while he's running the bases. And then he hits another home run on the same game, and he does the McGregor strut as he's walking back to the dugout, which is something that Trevor Bauer is known for doing on the Reds, on the Indians, and on the Dodgers. He's known for doing all of that. And so yeah, and after the game, Trevor Bauer and Fernando Tatis Jr. were taking jabs at each other, respecting each other's games, because that's what it's all about. You can't be getting mad if the other guy's just good, if he's just talented. And if you're both equally talented and he beats you that day, then he beats you that day. And it's time for you to focus on the next day and hopefully beat him on the next day. Syndergaard basically commented on this. He understands the competition of baseball, and he really respects the competition of baseball and how he loves seeing this stuff. But yet the unwritten rules it's kind of weird seeing this because of the unwritten rules during the off season when Trevor Bauer was he was open for business ultimately, and he was looking for teams to go to, and he eventually chose the Dodgers. But there were talks of him going to the Mets too, which is the team that Syndergaard plays for. And after Bauer went to the Dodgers, he kind of made jokes about, I'll donate money to charities in New York. And Syndergaard didn't really appreciate that, and so he made jabs at him on Twitter too after that. And so yeah, but Syndergaard, he hasn't been playing. So, prove yourself first and then start talking. Sure, yeah, but you can't just talk just to talk. If you're really interested in that, the Dodgers play the Mets in August, so it's a little bit of a wait, but, until then, you can look forward to it, and hopefully Syndergaard will be healthy enough to play against the Dodgers, and maybe we'll see a Syndergaard-Bauer pitching duel, and that would be great. Of course, always be a great duel between two great pitchers. So the Seattle Mariners called up their entire farm system. I have a list of all the players that the Mariners have called up so that you can keep an eye on them. So here we go. You've got Logan Gilbert, Jared Kelenic, and those two are the really big two to look out for. Paul Sewald, I think, Aaron Fletcher, Wyatt Mills, Taylor Trammell, Nick Marr, we're not even going to try that one, Lejay Newsome, and Braden Bishop. All been called up. They think this will win them games. I don't blame them. Jared Kelenic and Logan Gilbert are the two to keep because they were high prospects in last year's drafts, and they were called up recently, and then everyone else was called up too. So yeah, Seattle Mariners really, and it would suck to be a Mariner to get replaced by one of these. You're bad enough because you're on the Mariners, but then to be replaced by someone else on the Mariners, even worse. Something I do need to point out are the betting odds of the MLB. The first betting odds for the winner of the World Series were released a few weeks ago. I was thinking about doing a piece on it, but in the end, it made sense at the time. Now it makes no sense whatsoever, and I'm here to talk about it. The Dodgers are still on top of the betting odds when they shouldn't be. You've got the Yankees, the Mets, and the Padres who should be there, maybe switch that around a little bit, especially the Yankees, because they have not deserved their spot to be that far up on betting odds. I understand they might be the best team in the AL, but no. In my eyes, they have not proven themselves yet. I still need to see something from the Yankees. Honestly, I need to see something from the Yankees. Now, let's look at the overall record of each team. Let's see. That's not the Dodgers. That's not the Dodgers. Not them. 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 Oh, there's the Dodgers. At 9. At 9. They were one game above 500 not so long ago. The only reason why they're not a game above 500 anymore is because they played the Mariners. And even then, it was a close game. The Mariners, for some reason, I don't know, I can't explain the Mariners. Whereas the White Sox is the next thing I'm getting into. They are hot. The White Sox are looking good. Whew. If you haven't seen a White Sox game recently, go watch one, and I guarantee you Tim Anderson will hit a home run on the first pitch. You don't hear that, no, because what do you hear about? Ronald Acuna Jr. hitting a home run on the first pitch. But why do you hear about him and not the White Sox? From the Braves are even lower than the Dodgers. The Braves are like 20th on the list. Go watch a White Sox game. White Sox are hot. They are red hot. They are a team to be watching at the moment. I guarantee you it's a blast because they just score a bunch of runs every game. It's great. Love seeing the White Sox play. But the Dodgers should not be on top of betting odds. It should be the White Sox. The White Sox would sweep the Dodgers in the World Series. If it's a White Sox-Dodgers World Series, I'm holding the White Sox accountable of the sweep. Despite the Dodgers being so high on the betting odds and me talking so low of them, maybe this is the time where they start to heat up a little bit. You know, catch a little, get that little warmth going, you know, so that they can actually start winning games, especially since they're playing the Padres again. And what happened last time is they were winning games, played the Padres, and then lost a bunch of games. So yeah, maybe the same thing could be happening there. There is a designated hitter for the Mets that has currently got 3 RBIs. Now you might be wondering, why bring up designated hitter for the Mets that has 3 RBIs? Well, he has no hits. He has no hits. This guy has no hits. 4 plate appearances, 3 RBIs, and 0 hits. Unbelievable. I said a few weeks ago that the Mets are going to win the NL East, and currently they are top of the NL East. Wow, how smart must I be? It's great. Love baseball. Love when this kind of stuff happens. It's the first time since 1955 that this has happened. Yes, this has happened before where a player has gotten 0 hits but 3 RBIs. This has happened, and that was back in 1955. Patrick Mazeika of the New York Mets, 0 hits, 3 RBIs, 4 plate appearances. The Mets are looking great. There is a designated hitter for the Diamondback named Andrew Young. Now again, why bring up a random designated hitter for a team that is bad this year? The reason why I'm talking to you about Andrew Young. So Andrew Young, right, I'm getting real close to person. I'm sorry if this kind of freaks you out or anything, but Andrew Young, right? 10 at bats. He's had 10 at bats, right? He has 4 hits. 4 home runs. 4 home runs. 4 hits, 4 home runs. That's how you do it. And you know what his OPS is? 2.2. You know OPS is lower than that? Albert Pujols' OPS. He's got a 2.2 OPS because he's hit 4 balls. And those 4 balls have gone yard. Love baseball. Gotta love this sport. So many things happening. So many different oddities that are just going around in the MLB this year. Makes no utter sense, but hey, who's gonna stop it? Absolutely nobody. Fan bases of certain teams are really annoying. One is more respectable than the other, so I'm just going to do the one that's less respectable, and that team is the Angels. They have Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, they've got Bundy, Fletcher, you know, they've got all of these kind of players, and it's like, yeah, exactly. So why are you guys 5th in the AL West? That's composed of the Astros, who have been losing games, composed of the Mariners, who were top and then choked, the Rangers, who are one of the worst teams in the league, the Athletics, who are, they're actually pretty good today. When you look at the Angels' schedule, it's not great. They started off their season with the White Sox, and they did well, and then they played the Astros, they played the Blue Jays, the Royals, the Twins, Rangers, Mariners, Rays, and Dodgers. Now, the recurring pattern in that schedule is that those teams are god-awful. I mean, they went on a 5-game losing streak against the Mariners and the Rays. They didn't beat the Rays once. And the Rays aren't that good. They beat the Dodgers twice, so that's good, but the Dodgers aren't the team they were last year. And then they played the Royals, who they lost the series against. And then the Rangers, they beat the Rangers, but, they've played them twice now, and they're 3-3 against the Rangers, which should not be happening. And then the Astros, it seems impossible for the Angels to be the Astros. So yeah, to all the Angels fans out there, you've got a great lineup, minus Albert Pujols. You've got Shohei Ohtani, you've got Mike Trout, you've got Anthony Rendon. If you're just focusing on those 3 players alone, you should be first in the AL compared to Kyle Seager and the Mariners, compared to Jose Altuve and the Houston Astros, compared to Matt Chapman and the Oakland Athletic. Come on, seriously? And then to get swept by the Rays. I mean, yeah, so Angels fans, no right to be talking. You've got a great team and you guys still can't win enough games to be on top. And it's not like any of these teams are top of the league either. The Athletics were there for a minute, now they're gone. The next team that has been chirping a little bit about their team is the Red Sox fan base. They have a great record. They've been winning a ton of games, but their last 3 series were against the Orioles, the Tigers, and the Rangers. The Orioles are bottom of the AL East, the Tigers are bottom of the AL Central, and the Rangers are bottom of the AL West. So good for you, Red Sox. Way to beat the worst teams in every division. Solid, especially when the teams who play in your division, like the Blue Jays, who are actually good this year, like the Yankees, who are actually starting to turn it around this year, you can't be so proud of a win over the Tigers, the Orioles 3 different times, and the Rangers when they are all horrible teams. And you didn't even beat them every game. Orioles, you lost 1 game. The Tigers, you lost 1 game. The Rangers, you lost a series 1-3. How can you even say anything? You've played the Twins 4 times. I understand why you guys are kind of like, because their problem is the fact that they're not number 1 in power rankings. The reason why you're not number 1 in power rankings is because you've played god-awful teams, especially when the teams in your division are actually so good. So you're currently 1-2 against the Oakland Athletics. Angels and Red Sox fan bases really need to kind of quiet down a little bit about their teams. As soon as the Red Sox play the Yankees, it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a blowout. I'd be surprised if the Red Sox beat the Yankees more than 3 times this year. I'd honestly be surprised if that happened. And we'll just have to see and wait. I could be wrong, I could be right. But that's where my logic's at with that. Is that the Red Sox, once they start playing these AL East teams, it's going to be over for them. That is it for this episode of MLB Rants. If you like the video, go down, hit the little thumbs up button. If you like my content in general and you want to see what I do next, hit that subscribe button, push the bell for notifications. That would be great. I upload on a weekly basis every Friday. Like this video was uploaded on Friday, and next week's episode 6, will be uploaded on a Friday. If there is something that I said that you agree with, go ahead and put it down in the comments. It's great to hear, feedback from my viewers. If there's something that you disagree with, go ahead and put that in the comment section too. It really gives me a chance to see what you guys are saying and what your opinion on everything is. And then of course, if there is something that happens next week that you do want me to go over, put that down in the comments as well. I'll be sure to read it. And if anything, it might make an appearance on next week's episode. I definitely needed some suggestions for this week because there's just not really that much going on. but we made it in the end. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.